There's something different about our podcast today.
Yes. Hello, I'm Megan.
And I'm Emmy.
And you are listening to Smut in Public.
Smut in Public. Smut in Public.
Anyone who is watching us on TikTok or YouTube will notice that we have a very special guest for our podcast today. We've got Kendra, aka Mrs. Longreads. And Kendra and Emmy and I met honestly on TikTok because we both make book talk content. We both do romance books. And we both have a soft spot for monsters. In fact, I have nicknamed Kendra the Sakui Sweetie of the South, a nickname that she did enjoy when I told her the first time.
I love it.
Kendra, would you like to introduce yourself to the listeners over here at Smut in Public?
Of course. My name's Kendra, or Mrs. Longreads online. You can find me on TikTok and YouTube now. I just hit 1,000 followers, by the way. I didn't tell y'all that on YouTube. So yeah, I'm really excited. But yeah, I love monster smut is my favorite genre ever, unironically. And yeah, I talk about it on the internet. So if y'all like a fun time,
we're so glad that you do. We're so glad that you do.
TikTok definitely is like probably my favorite because I think it's just quicker and easier. So that's where I'm at the most. But yeah, I'm really happy to be here.
Fabulous. We're so happy to have you.
Yeah, the monster girlies seem to coalesce on TikTok,
they really
to be honest with you.
Yeah, there's a bigger audience on there for sure.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming with us. This is our first guest episode, and we're super excited that you are our first guest. Thank you so much for coming.
Love it.
Well, part of the reason we invited Kendra to this episode is because we share a love of Emma Hamm, an incredible monster romance author. And today we are going to be doing her newest book. It's called A Darkness So Sweet. It is The Kingdom Below Book 1, and it just came out this year in May of 2025. It is 502 pages, a little bit of a meteor read, but oh my gosh, is it incredibly worth it?
So good.
Oh my God. I flew through it. I devoured this book.
Mm-hmm.
In the same way that Ragnar seems to devour Maia, to be honest.
Right.
But we'll get into that. So let's give you a little non-spoiler plot summary of A Darkness So Sweet first. This is a romantasy that follows the story of Maia, who is a human florist, and Ragnar, a troll with magical healing abilities. The pair are forced into a marriage by deception. And while neither party wanted or expected this, Maia will discover her voice and find freedom in this new world of trolls, while Ragnar finds hidden strength in the fragile human that he has been married to. Now, escalating tensions between humans and trolls really forms the backdrop for their growing relationship and threatens to rip the couple apart right as they start to find their footing together.
So the tags for Darkness So Sweet it is a slow burn monster romantasy. And the content tags for this ones are enemies to lovers, which is an Emma Hamm special, forced marriage, emotional abuse, neglect. There's some violence and some gore. And my favorite part, there are piercings, including specifically male genital piercings, which we are definitely going to get more onto, but not yet.
Before we go too much into the book, I have to say, I read the dedication that Emma Hamm wrote in this novel, and I wrote down a quote here. It says, "This is for every girl who's ever been told that she was too much." And I don't know how you ladies feel, but this, it spoke to me to my core. Did it speak to you guys too?
Yes. Yeah. Having had someone literally tell me sometimes it's too hard to love you because you're too much.
Oh, no.
Yeah. No, it was definitely, it was like, oh, Emma, you see me.
I think Maia, as a character, I think is relatable to a lot of women because in Maia, I saw a lot of myself with being kind of anxious to stick up for myself or to say something, in a situation.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of women struggle with that because we're taught a lot about being meek and mild. And, I kind of got that from her and I really liked seeing that development.
I did too. For me,
same.
I have a very big personality, and I'm also like, I'm tall. We've talked canonically tall person. We've talked about that on our podcast. And so just physically and emotionally, I'm hyper aware of how much space I take up. And it's a real insecurity for me. And like, I'm definitely the type of person who will finish a conversation and then I'll just sit there like constantly replaying what I said and like feeling anxious. Did it go well? Did it not go well? Was I too much? Was I too loud? Was I too this? Was I too that? And it's to the point where in my vows for my wedding, one of the lines I put in there for my husband was, I know I can be a lot, but you never make me feel like I'm too much. Like genuinely.
It was so sweet.
Yeah. So like that dedication really hit home for me, and it set things up in a very strong way for me to be like, yes, I'm ready to read this book.
Totally. Emma's so good at writing like female characters, in my opinion. I like pretty much all of her female characters.
Absolutely. 100% agree. 100.
Yeah. And for the spice rating, in my personal opinion, at least, and y'all can, jump in with yours, but I would say maybe like a 3, roughly 3 peppers out of 5. If you include all the fun piercings, maybe even higher, but that was definitely the most, I'd say like, different part, I guess you could say. Everything else kind of seemed a little bit more on the lower end, I'd say, with spice. I don't know how y'all feel about it, but I'd give it like
I'm with you.
Around a 3.
Yeah.
I'm with
you.
It's
like a 2.5 for me, just because the piercings weren't as shocking. That's terrible.
See, for me,
Emmy telling people too much about her business.
That's new for me.
Yeah, but it's like another slow burn book, so it sort of does take a while. I feel like Emma Hamm definitely, she's like, come here for the plot, and we also happen to have some smut involved, but she's mostly a plot book writer.
Completely agree.
I would agree. I'm also kind of in that like 2.5, 3 range. And that's okay. I think it's good to just understand that Emma Hamm has incredible stories and there is some spice in it. These are not smutty books that are, limping along with a token plot. It's definitely that ratio.
100%.
Yeah. For rainbow rating, I'm going to give it a 1. If there was a queer character, I blinked and missed it. There's nothing particularly queer about this book, but that's okay. Not all of them have to be. But it matters to us because Emmy and I are bisexuals. So we like to keep an eye on that.
Totally understand.
Now we are going to take a spoiler warning break. For our listeners who are new, we always warn you before we talk about serious spoilers for the book. So I encourage you, if you don't mind spoilers or if you've already read the book, stick with us. If you really hate spoilers, listen to us anyway and just cover your ears, but we could use the playtime. Appreciate you.
Yeah. Just put it on in the background, turn it down, put it on the background, give us the play, and then go read the book while you play it.
One of the great privileges we've had since launching Smut in Public has been meeting authors and fellow creators who share our love of spicy romance.
We find new book besties every day, and supporting their work helps us all build a community together.
Our new book bestie, Ari, runs the Spicy Romance Book Club. It's an online apparel brand with cozy fits, perfect to wear as you curl up with the next book on your TBR list.
The Spicy Romance Book Club is a small, female, POC-led business, and Smut in Public listeners can enjoy 15% off their entire store order with promo code SMUTINPUBLIC.
Find your next book bestie by wearing your love of spicy romance literally on your sleeve. Right, good girl?
Megan, you're making me blush. Save it for the episode.
Okay, fine. Visit thespicyromancebookclub.com and use promo code SMUTINPUBLIC for 15% off your entire order. See you at the bookstore.
All right, so Maia is our main character, and she is a fiery redhead with a sweet little apple bottom. She's a little built, according to how the people are saying. And she runs a flower business. She's inherited it from her recently dead father. And he sounds like he was a bit of a jerk, to be honest with you. He definitely treated Maia more like property rather than, like a daughter. Her father was abusive and he really wanted her to just be seen and not heard. So that's kind of who Maia is as a person when we begin all of this. So she happens to have just the tiniest little bit of elven blood in this particular book. And that gives her the ability to just sort of use that to be a green witch. She helps it to help her grow the flowers for her florist shop. And so she's really connected with like greenery and stuff at the beginning. And the book begins, she's having her breakout moment because she has been hired by the castle to provide the flowers for a fancy royal wedding that is about to happen. However, as she arrives with the flowers, she's talking to the princess who's about to be married to a troll. She's not very happy about this. And they sort of are like, Maia, you're so nice. The princess would like you to come and stand next to her while she's getting married. Oh, would you like to wear this white dress? I know you didn't come dressed up for a wedding. You should put on this white dress, and you should definitely go stand.
This totally opaque veil that means you can't see anything or tell what's happening. It's
you should
a
definitely put
headdress.
this veil on.
It's a ceremonial headdress.
Yeah, I started having like trauma from reading this section because I was the asshole who wore white to a wedding once when I was in my early 20s. And I'm going to blame this on Mormonism because growing up, Mormons get married in private, and those who attend the actual ceremony, they all wear white. Normally, it's only your close family. And so by the time I was in my early 20s, I had never been to an actual like regular Christian wedding. Okay. And so I didn't know what people were supposed to wear. And I was actually going to the ceremony. So I was like, okay, well, Mormons wear white. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to hedge my bets. I'm going to wear a black top, but a white skirt. And the looks that I got are like, they're in my head to this day of walking through the area wearing this white skirt. And I honestly think that maybe my guilt over doing this may have lasted longer than their actual marriage. Because 15 years later, I am driving in my car and I go, oh fuck, I was the asshole that wore white too.
It just dawned on you.
This is what I mean. So when I said earlier where I'm like, like you did an embarrassing thing and it's just like replays in your mind. It's it becomes an intrusive thought,
Yeah. Yeah. The only thing that helps me not feel terrible about this was that it was a terrible wedding. They had 300 people and they didn't provide food for anybody. They literally, I'm not kidding, they served pita chips. Yeah, they served pita chips and cake. Oh my God. And so like people were having to abandon the wedding because there was no food. It was Fire Festival, the wedding. It was insane. So when they put Maia in this white dress, I was like, girl, no.
Get out of here.
Run away, bride, run.
Yeah. Even if it's just that, so that you could stand next to the bride, you're going to remember this forever. I promise you.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. It's awful. Absolutely awful.
I love the part with the princess in the dress was hilarious because I feel like that's what I'm saying with the anxiety thing. That's how it feels sometimes. I feel like to have anxiety and just be stressful about social situations. You're like, okay, I don't want to like speak up. I don't want to say anything. Like I love that part.
And she's like, I guess like, sure, I'll wear this.
Right, exactly. That's exactly her personality in the moment. Is she's like, this feels wrong, but I'm too shy or embarrassed to say something. So I'm gonna just kind of see how it plays out. And like that lack of ability to assert herself is definitely where her character starts, and that's like the big thing she's gonna have to overcome through the story.
Definitely.
For sure.
Yeah.
Kendra, why don't you tell us about Ragnar?
So,
tell us about our male lead.
Ragnar.
I love the visual aid.
Yes.
It's a great
I'm always
cover.
holding up books in my videos. I have to do something with my hands. I get anxious with my hands. But he is our troll MMC. He's actually a troll. He's actually a troll healer. And I really like that about him, honestly. I wasn't expecting that going in. I thought he'd be like much more like a warrior type. He's actually a healer, which I found super cute. And he has a very gruff personality. So I liked the healing part of him. But at least the way he's like drawn artistically, he's like very ripped and very tall. I like the cover art on the inside. I was showing the girls here earlier. Also very tatted.
Love that.
So
and
cool.
I like the hair a whole lot.
You're into the man bun.
I
like the man bun.
Definitely. I'm a fan. And some of the like art of him, he just has braids and stuff, but I like the bun. So that's Ragnar.
I love that. And for anybody who's on Spotify or Apple and is feeling left out, go check our YouTube or check out TikTok and you can see you can see the visual aids that Kendra brought for us. I love that. For some more background of this world, there are three races. There are humans, elves, and trolls. And trolls, like Ragnar, were really created by ancient elves. And in the book, it says they were made out of mud, stone, and fur. And frankly, the elves created the trolls really to be slaves. And then the elves, kind of like Lord of the Rings style, have maybe left the earth at this point, have kind of moved on in some way. And they left their creations, the trolls, behind. And it was only when the first human who had elven blood sort of procreated with an early troll ancestor, that spark of elven magic is what really helped the trolls start evolving towards the version of trolls that we see with Ragnar and his people today. And within troll society, mixing elven blood into the troll bloodline is a goal. Like, it's considered very important. It's a very advantageous way to get married or choose your mate. And the princess, the whole point of Ragnar being engaged to this princess is that she's supposed to be 50% elf. So the highest, percentage of elf that maybe ever has been married into a troll bloodline. And because the elven blood is so magical, if she marries Ragnar and they become, formal mates and they kind of get bloodbound in that way, it's going to really amp up his healing magic and make it even stronger. So he might go from being able to heal someone by touching them to being able to heal them from a distance, or maybe from healing one person to being able to heal a bunch of people at the same time. And obviously humans and trolls have been beefing, right? There have been a lot of skirmishes, right? A lot of conflict. And so having more healing ability would be a huge advantage to the troll people. And this would also potentially encourage peace, between humans and trolls, which at least for the trolls would be very advantageous. So that's the point of this match having been brokered in the first place.
Yeah, so Ragnar was definitely not happy with being married to what he thought was going to be the princess, but ended up being Maia.
Oh, yeah.
He wasn't happy with either, just to be honest. He really wanted a troll wife. That's what he always envisioned for himself, and that's just part of his, culturally, that's what he kind of was supposed to do. He wasn't supposed to marry this girl. In the book, he even says, "I'm not your husband and I will never be." He whispers it to her in her ear. He is very gruff and harsh, and he's not giving her the time of day. He basically feels like, I'm just going to do what I have to do with her and then just forget about it. It's very much like enemies to lovers. Hardcore, this book, even more so than Whispers of the Deep, in my opinion. So he's very unhappy with her.
Yeah, Ragnar had some serious ideals of what he wanted. He was what he wanted his life to be with in a marriage, and this was definitely not it. He's I prepared. I had all these lovely things for a troll wife, and I've got a human instead.
Not a fan. So whenever he said that, it really made me smile because I'm a huge Bridgerton fan, and if you watch season 3, Colin in the first episode at the very end, he's like, "If Lady Whistledown is ever found out, I hate her and I will never forgive her." He says that at the end, but then obviously, what happens. So yeah, it just reminded me of that because it's foreshadowing. It reminded me of something in a TV show, a movie.
Totally.
Yeah.
We as the readers are oh, he's going to eat those words.
Yeah, he's going to live to regret saying that.
I love when that happens. It reminds me of drama shows. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
So with Maia and Ragnar, whenever he basically marries her, but he doesn't know who she is initially, or he doesn't actually know that she's Maia or she's not the princess, right? She gets tricked in.
He never even asks for her name, to be honest with you. He's just guess it's this one.
The part that killed me is he has to carry her on his back basically the whole way back to his home, and he's very rough with her. And I talked about this on my TikTok. I was he was so rough that whole time. She talks about being slammed into his shoulder, and she's getting sick, and he really just is not gentle whatsoever. And this did kind of shock me because I'm so used to the mermen and they're so sweet and gentle, and I'm it was hard to read because I wasn't quite expecting him to be so gruff, but he really was. She took it there with with him.
At one point, he like shoves her into the river, and she even like sort of sprains her wrist a little bit, and she then like hides it because, of course, she doesn't want to be a bother.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And she has no idea that he's a healer either. So she's just like, I'm just going to keep this to myself. Yeah.
100%.
He doesn't do like all these things that he traditionally would do to somebody he just married.
Right. He doesn't even clothe her or really like pay attention to the fact that she needs to eat. Like, there's just a lot of, he's very neglectful.
Oh, yeah. He was upset. He was upset
dismissive.
about how much she ate, right? He's like, oh, you're hungry again in the morning? Ugh. Yeah. No, he was like, you're so weak and pathetic. It was like, dude.
Yeah.
Honestly,
So
now I'm surprised I even started liking Ragnar, because any man commenting about how much a woman eats is like an instant ick for me.
I know.
But I must have blacked out during that page.
He does have a good comeback, though. Okay. He really does. Yeah.
He does have a good comeback. Yeah.
He does. I think the reality of Ragnar and why this is not going well for him is he and Maia have this disconnect where he sort of feels like if this was a real troll wife, she would be pushing back. She wouldn't put up with me treating her this badly. She would be slapping me upside the head. She'd be dressing me down in front of all the other trolls. And so he's kind of pushing and pushing and pushing, almost because Maia is putting up with it. He gets like, he escalates and keeps escalating because he sort of wants to break her. Like, he wants to push her to the point where she acts the way he wants her to act and loses her temper with him, which is definitely not cool. But that's where his head is at during this, bad treatment of her.
I think that kind of showed a lot of like just cultural differences between like humans and trolls, because he doesn't see the idea of a woman that's just oppressed and would be taught to be quiet and and stuff, and he doesn't get why she's not like being more forward. Whereas her, she's like, I'm trying to be respectful and like not get in your way. But it's just, they don't have the same upbringing. And it's kind of, Emma does that a lot with having the, different cultural divides and things amongst like the monsters and then the humans. Yeah. I love that.
I love that part too about her writing, that it's just like, obviously Maia's like, well, I'm not going to yell back at you because I'm under the impression that if I yell at you, you're going to say, kill me or hurt me. And he's like, I would never hurt a woman. That's ridiculous that you would even think that kind of a thing. And they never have that conversation until much later in the book where she kind of figures out that getting angry at him is a safe thing to do.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's exactly it. Yeah. Until she realizes that it can be a safe place for her feelings, right? Which is great. So speaking of safe places, one of my favorite things about this part of the book, but the book overall, is that women are constantly sort of the saving grace for Maia. So specifically at this point, there are these three women, and it's like a young, a middle-aged, and it's like a mother maiden crone sort of vibe. And
the three witches show up. No, these are not witches. Yeah, but the three different ladies of your
very
lifetime.
Disney-esque, like a Disney vibe.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. And they kind of adopt Maia into like a coterie of women, and they give her ear piercings, her wedding piercings that Ragnar should have given her, right? Like you were saying, Kendra, these rituals and these things that he's supposed to do after he marries someone that he's just totally neglecting. And they kind of chat with her and help prepare her emotionally a little bit for what's about to come and like the home she's about to get to. They also foreshadow that Ragnar had to get husband piercings, which we will talk about.
She's like, that's weird. What are those? What piercings? And they're like, you haven't seen them yet?
Right. And she's like, are they in his ears? And they're like, no, babes, they're on his cock.
No, baby.
No, babes.
I love that.
So we'll get to those, believe you me. So the journey to Ragnar's home goes, relatively smoothly. And I will say, you talked about carrying her over the shoulder. There were a couple things where I was like, oh, we're going to Orc Mountain. You mean Troll Mountain? Oh, sorry, my bad.
Troll Mountain. Yeah, sorry.
But my initial thought, because I'm such a huge fan of the Orc Sworn series by Finley Fenn, obviously, like I'm on record. I stand on that business. There are a couple of things that are the same between this book and those books, but really they are extremely different and I don't feel like they compete with each other or can't exist on your shelf together. Right. The only things that really are the same is hilariously trolls travel by running, which the orcs also do. What are they going to ride horses?
Yeah.
No, they run around. What are you gonna do? They live in a mountain.
Maybe this is a Lord of the Rings holdover, from when they're taking the hobbits to Isengard.
Oh, yeah.
I love
They're
that.
like, obviously they only run
like a little
That's
baby.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they run around. Obviously, they live underground in a mountain. And then the general concept that there is a, generational conflict between trolls and humans. Okay, that's also there. But the societies are very different. There's no public orgies in this book, for example.
Dang.
Emma Ham would never.
Yeah, no, very true. Definitely not Emma Ham style.
No, definitely not. So life for Maia is very interesting at this point. As she's on her way to what we learn is going to be called Trollvegan. Before they can get there, they've been married in the human tradition, but they still have to get married in the troll tradition. And we whip out a witch. There's quite a few witches in this book. Maybe we could have cut one witch for time. I don't know. 500 pages.
Could have combined some of the witches.
Yeah,
the blood witch is also the bone witch.
Yeah,
I don't
blood
know.
witch, bone witch. Maybe we got a flesh witch somewhere, a piercings witch. I don't know.
I'm still waiting for the bile witch to show up.
The bio witch.
Oh, she lives in a bog. Love that for her.
Yeah.
So the blood witch officially sort of combines their essences, right? So they have a sharing of blood, and this marries them in a troll tradition that also kind of magically marries them, which is very significant. And the blood witch specifically says to Ragnar, she's yours. And she's more yours than I have seen in 100 years. Like, this is your wife. And that really shakes Ragnar, because I think up until this point, he was like, maybe I'll get out of this. Maybe she'll run and I won't catch her. Like, maybe this will all have been a terrible mistake. But when the blood witch says that, he's like, oh shit, he takes it seriously. And unfortunately for Maia, she has now run out of time to tell Ragnar the truth about this whole I'm not the princess situation. In Maia's defense, she did try several times. It was like
multiple times,
constantly on the tip of her tongue. She tries to tell the ladies. She does try to tell him. And of course, like, circumstances always come up where it just doesn't come out of her mouth. It's just never the right time. But when their bloods combine, it's like this cute little, like a magical phantasmic show, like a little light show at Disneyland.
Of their 23andMe's popping up together.
Right, their 23andMe floats up into the air, and every goddamn troll around Ragnar in this envoy goes, that bitch ain't a princess.
She's outed.
She's supposed to be half elf, and it's like that 1% that everybody's got of something weird, right?
It's like your Neanderthal percentage of DNA. Yeah. It's like 1%, just a little one. And so everyone is like, let's kill her. She's a liar. And Ragnar's like, whoa. Okay, crap. And he kind of runs off with her, and they get a little cave time, which I love. We love a mild kidnapping and a little cave time.
Kidnapping is not my favorite.
Canonically. And at this point, Maia loses her temper with him, which also helps Ragnar be like, okay, she's got a little spine. She got a little fire to her. Maybe we can hang. And they really have like a come to Jesus conversation. And he says, look, let's start over. No more lies. I'm not going to keep being an asshole. Let's really give this a shot. And he also kind of admits and talks more about himself with her finally. And we learn about Ragnar that really what motivates him is his love for his community, right? He's a healer. Mm-hmm. He's this caretaker personality really at his core. And that is something that Maia has in common with him. And I will say this is an Emma Ham special for me, right? It's this trope of one man who has the weight of the entire world, all his people just like sitting on his shoulders. That is definitely an Emma Ham special.
Definitely.
So after they leave the cave, they do eventually make their way to the troll home, which is called Trollvegan. And it's dope. It looks like, if you saw the cover art, I'll try to describe it a little bit more. It is very neon-y. It's very purple. Yeah, I saw this and I was instantly like, oh, that's Pandora. More purpley Pandora. And I did see the trolls a little bit as Na'vi, to be honest with you.
The mushrooms are some of my favorite.
Oh yeah, the giant mushrooms.
Love the mushrooms.
Yeah, and so everything is like glowing via bioluminescence. bioluminescence kind of a thing. And there's these things called wisps that are kind of floating around, and they provide the light, they provide the magic, and that helps them grow all kinds of like plants and food underground inside of Troll Mountain.
Yep.
And I don't know why every single fuckable monster out there needs to live in a mountain. Personally,
why can't they live in a palace? Why can't it be a house?
Yeah, why can't I want Werewolf Palace? I want Mermaid Mansion.
Werewolf
Okay,
Palace.
please. Can I actually? Despite living in a mountain, the house that Maia gets that Ragnar owns is actually very nice, and it's very modern. It has like running water. She doesn't know what a tap is originally. He's like, go bathe. And she's like, I guess I'll go to the river and find some water to heat. And he's like, turns the freaking knob, and she's like, now I know why trolls smell so nice.
Yeah.
It's because they don't have to, hike down to get water to bathe. By the way, he shames her a lot for smelling at the beginning of the book. That to me, I was like, oh, we're going real medieval. Okay, we're being realistic about the bathing. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
What I liked about that part was how it showed that even though the humans see them like animals, they're actually more advanced in every way, basically, than the humans are. Especially like with the bathing, like they don't even have running water. But yet they see the trolls as, inhuman and disgusting and like an animal, which is interesting.
100%.
Yeah, I like that.
Well, and there's also
these barbarians.
There's also a moment where Maia's about to leave and she's like, oh, I don't know how to lock the door. And the troll wife that's with her is like, why would we have locks on the doors? Mm-hmm. And she's like, so because everyone's going to come and steal everything you own. And the troll like laughs in her face and is like, that's stupid. Why would we do that? And she's like, Maia's like, oh, this is a much nicer place than where I live.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maya gets to experience the suburbs for the first time.
Like, oh, okay. People are nice here and don't steal from you. What?
Yeah.
So speaking of troll wife, this is a very interesting like social status that Maia has now. And it's made clear, especially by the other troll wives, that being a troll wife means they don't consider her human anymore. They consider her a troll wife. It's other. And I really liked that because it just reminds me of a lot of times throughout history where like women don't have as many rights as they should, but you find these weird little niches where you're able to, like, if you're a widow, then you do actually have more, authority. Or if you're like a spinster aunt, you get to a point where you're like, actually you are allowed a little bit more freedom because you don't have a man sort of telling you what to do. And so I just liked that this little niche that Emma created in her storytelling here of what a troll wife was and what it meant gives Maia more,
it's like a title.
More authority, and it's a title. Yeah. And it feels really cool. I like the way that concept is written for sure.
Kind of tells the difference between like she's not just like the way human beings see wives. Like it's just a different cultural idea of what a wife is.
It's like you get your own social status that is troll wife. You're not just Ragnar's wife.
I like that.
You're a troll wife.
Yeah.
Right. And I love that.
Of Ragnar here.
Yeah, exactly. It's not Maia of Ragnar.
The patriarchy doesn't exist in this world. No.
Yeah. It's very much the opposite. They're like, no, you're the troll wife. You're in charge. Okay. He's here to serve you. He's here to make you feel good. And if he's not doing those things, then he's not being a proper husband to you. And it was
We love that. So although for the record, I have to say, Ragnar does keep neglecting Maia, but so he forgets to get her nicer clothes. He like does not keep food in the house. But for me, it didn't seem malicious at this point. It just felt like he was a dude, like just a guy who didn't realize he had to go grocery shopping.
What I think it was is it gave just very, very stereotypical straight man coding. That's what I was like.
Yes.
Like he's not meaning to like be insulting or not care. He just doesn't think about it. It's just very
like when you go sleep over at like a guy's house for the first time and you're like, where's the shampoo? And they're like, oh, I have a combination shampoo, conditioner, degreaser. I keep it under my sink in my kitchen. Let me grab it for you.
I have a funny story that's sort of about this. I knew this girl that I was like distantly friends with. It's a long story. We're very different people. Let's just say that. But she just tried to befriend me and I was just being nice, whatever. We went to college together. And she was telling me about like different guys that she was like hanging out with or whatever. And she like was into dudes that played baseball. I don't know why that was so relevant, but whatever.
Hey, apparently there's girls who like guys who play hockey. That's
true.
the whole
Hockey
thing.
Stuff. Yeah, so she liked baseball. Anyways, well, she told me about some guy that she went over to his apartment, and it was like his own apartment. It wasn't on campus or anything. We had a meal plan. Like, no, it was like a separate apartment, and that's important because she was saying how she got takeout after the game. And she went to eat it with him at their table. And she's like, oh, they forgot my fork. Like, they didn't pack her a fork. She's like, can I borrow one of your forks? And he's like, I don't have a fork. And she's like, what do you mean you don't have a fork? And she went looking through all of his drawers. She said there was nothing there. Like, there was not a dish towel. There was not pots and pans. What? There was not forks. There was not spoon. Like, literally, it was completely empty.
What is he? Does he just eat with his hands?
I guess he just gets food on the go all the time.
Burritos.
But he's like a college student. I don't know, but it killed me. I will never forget. I was like,
I love that.
That's
exactly
Ragnar's
the vibe.
house.
It's like,
Ragnar's house is the kind of house.
It's just straight man stuff.
That has like one fork.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just straight boy problems.
Yeah.
I imagine that Ragnar's house was those kind of things where, like, she goes into the fridge and the only thing he has is ketchup and mustard.
And, like, 2 beers, right?
Oh, yeah, 2 beers.
Some Bud Light is in there, too. Yeah, some mushroom Bud Light or whatever in Ragnar's fridge.
Oh, yeah.
So, once again, it is the women that come to the rescue, right? Like, she gets kind of, like, waylaid by a bunch of troll wives, and they're like, we'll take you, we'll help you out. They get her clothes, they get her jewelry, like, they help get her some food, they get her some groceries. They take care of Maia at this point. So, we love that community of women peace. The one thing I will say, though, is we start to get some spicy scenes at this point. Yes. And I must congratulate Emma Hamm because Ragnar might not have any food in his kitchen, but he is a hungry boy.
He is.
Okay. He is a hungry boy. And what I mean by that is that every single spicy scene, Ragnar goes down on Maia.
Yep.
At the beginning, that's all he does. He's like, I need you right now, and I need you in my mouth. So I have an honest question. How do we feel about being eaten out on a kitchen counter? Because I'm mid. I don't know.
Here's what I think. I think because he is a straight man troll, and he probably already had a dirty kitchen. I'm like, okay, whatever. He probably hasn't cleaned anyways.
It's not going to make a difference in here.
Now, after the fact, if I clean that whole house and then, now that kind of, might make me a little, but I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't really care.
My thing is, maybe just put like a kitchen towel down first.
That would be good. Yeah.
Emmy, don't pretend like this hasn't happened to you. I know for a fact this has happened to you. You've told me about it.
Look, when you spend a lot of time in the kitchen and you wear really cute aprons, things happen, okay?
I love aprons. I wear aprons all the time.
Yeah,
I love aprons.
We have like a collection of. I've made aprons for other people. Yeah, no, the apron core. Get into it, guys.
Yes,
everybody loves a cute apron.
Love an apron.
Well, that's going to be our first merch collab. Will be Mrs. Longreads heart smutting.
You don't understand. I think
aprons.
I have like 10 aprons. I have so many aprons. I love aprons.
Oh my gosh.
I love cooking, so I wear aprons all the time.
Oh man,
Emmy is a very accomplished.
Thank you. Yeah, cooking more. I guess I also do baking, but I do primarily do cooking instead.
Yeah.
But yeah, we throw like tea parties and stuff, and I do all kinds of like handmade baked goods. And I cry multiple times into them as I make them. Go, why did I do this to myself?
Yeah. Clearly, I honed in on the baking because that is the type of meal prep that I'm usually the beneficiary of because I'm getting the scones and the pastries and the.
Megan keeps her cooking friends close so she can benefit.
That is correct. She's seen through my clever ruse.
So everything is going amazing at Trollvegen until obviously it isn't. There's one day where she's going about the city and all of a sudden there's this horrible earthquake and there's rocks coming down from the ceiling and they are crushing people, and it is just this huge giant natural disaster that really disrupts everything going on. So obviously Ragnar, being a healer, he runs straight into it, right? He starts healing people. He's finding the people who are crushed, people who've had their bones broken. And this is the moment where Maia, who's like, I want to help, these people have been nice to me, she joins in with him, and they realize that together they can access both of their magic. She can use her green magic to encourage his potions and stuff to work better, and through him he's able to tap into some of her magic and go longer. So they really discover in this moment of like big tragedy that the two of them complement each other very well. As she's doing this, like Ragnar's like, why are you helping me? You know, trolls have been your natural enemy like your entire life. And Maia says, I'm so sorry that all you've seen of my kind is anger and hate. Not all of us rejoice in the pain of your people, Ragnar. And I know nothing I say will take those memories away. But I am here and I will help as long as I am able. And it's just this beautiful moment of she's like, look, these people are in front of me and they need help and I'm not going to say no. And it's, I think that's that really big moment of like, he's like, oh, you know, we can do this together.
I think also because he cares so much about his people, watching her caretake them really means so much more to him than anything else could, because that's his whole life's mission. The whole reason he was willing to put up with this princess marriage was because he knew it would make his healing stronger so he could help his people. And the fact that Maia is still able to do that with him and actively wants to do that with him is a really important connection.
Yeah, I think it shows she's willing to learn and grow, which he kind of wasn't. I don't think he was anticipating that maybe she would. He kind of saw her because he thought she was the princess for the first little bit. He was like, oh, she's this elitist human. You know, she doesn't like trolls. She won't ever respect us, but she does. Yeah.
Right. But she doesn't. Yeah. She rolls her sleeves up and gets dirty and gets in the blood and in the muck with him. And she's tired and doesn't complain. And like, that's a big thing about Maia is that she doesn't complain. She bears it. Yeah. And that is a type of strength that Ragnar didn't acknowledge earlier on, but starts to acknowledge at this point that's a strength.
Yeah. It is for sort of that very specific feminine strength of like, we are here to help and we will continue to just be solid together. And it really goes into that sort of like that female camaraderie thing that, you know, she seems to be the theme of this book, that female strength.
You know, there's an investigation, obviously, after this terrible earthquake, and we find out that this was not a fluke or an act of God. This was a deliberate human attack on the Troll Mountain. And that is very serious because even though humans have always looked for the entrances to Trollvegen, they've never found them before. And this earthquake was kicked off when they were trying to detonate some explosives in one of the entrances. So really, really bad news for the trolls.
So at this point, the Troll King basically is contemplating war because obviously this is a big threat to Trollvegen. And he, of course, kind of suspects, if I remember, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but if I remember, he suspects that Maia obviously has something to do with this because none of this happened until she got there, right? Like
everyone's like, that bitch is a spy. Like, this didn't happen until she got here.
Something happened because she arrived. So he's like, okay, time to X her out. And Ragnar, of course, at this point is already, I don't know if he said he loved her yet at this point, but he's definitely feeling that.
He's locked in. He's no locked matter in. What, even if he hasn't said it.
Yeah, even if he hasn't expressed it, you know, as the reader, he feels it, you know. So he definitely isn't about that. So the whole like troll vegan like turns on her, even though she's done a lot for them and she saves them a lot at this point. They turn on her because, well, the king, everyone's setting out to kill her at this point and also sees her as like a massive problem. And he actually hides her with this grumpy gardener, which really was my favorite. I love this part because my granddad, I lived in my granddad's house and anything reminds me of my granddad. He passed away like 2 years ago. But anything that reminds me of him, I always love. But he also was a grumpy gardener. He wasn't quite as mean as this guy, you know, but he kind of was just kind of like an old farmer guy. He's a farmer my whole life. And he just gave me that vibe of like a grandpa, you know, that this guy did.
I love that.
Just maybe a little more mean. Kind of like a recluse. But the reason why is because nobody wants to be around him because he's so irritable and just this Ragnar's like, if she stays here, she'll be left alone, That's why she ends up there. And also she loves plants, and she has the green magic, which she does use while she's helping him with like the crops and stuff. Initially, he doesn't want her to even touch it. If you remember, he's like skeptical of her too, but she even like wins over him, which I loved. And I think Maia definitely throughout this whole book, just something about it, she gave me Disney princess vibes to me, sort of. And this part definitely did, because it reminded me like Belle, Belle in the like movie, like she just can win everyone over and everyone loves her. That's how it felt to me, like whenever the garter kind of started to like her too. So
totally. There's just like a sweetness that Maia has that you can't help but like. And that is just so charming. And I love the magic in any book, but certainly in this book. And you even find out that her power is growing too, right? Like Ragnar's healing did get stronger because of Maia, and Maia's plant magic is getting stronger because of Ragnar. And so she can start to actually talk to the plants as well.
I like
and
that part.
Totally blows the old man away, because he's like, I've never met another troll who can talk to the plants. And that's adorable.
I actually I never read a book with magic particularly about plants, I guess. Like, that was kind of different. I was like, I love that. Like, I thought it was really unique.
The part I really liked is when he's like, well, we need to plant this one here. And she's like, I'm sorry, have you not heard them? They don't want to be there. And he's like, well,
She's like, you're not hearing them? They don't like it there.
He's like, no, they're gonna go over here and they're gonna like it. And she's like, no, the plant is specifically saying.
He's like, you can't give those plants everything they want or they'll get spoiled. You gotta show them who's boss. And Maia's like, oh my God, now I'm arguing with a sapling and a man. Like,
she's very connected.
That was like
she's
so
very
charming.
much connected
it's
to
very, very charming.
To nature. I like that about her. It was cool. I liked it.
Yeah, Maia ends up on this farm because the other trolls have turned against her so badly. Like, she cannot walk through town. There's literally a part where she's in the marketplace and the trolls are like screaming at her, like, go home, get out of here. And one of them even sees that like the jewelry that Ragnar bought her is in her ears. And he's like, is that my fucking jewelry in your ears? And it leads to this part where she doesn't feel safe anymore. And this really reminded me of, I'm going to date myself here, the post 9/11 time. I had a friend when I was younger after 9/11 who was Middle Eastern, and people started having some really unpointed racism about people that looked Middle Eastern. And we have a high Sikh population here in the Bay Area. And I just remember there was all of a sudden a spike in hate crimes because people would basically see a turban and they would make these crazy assumptions. And I just remember that my friend, she had that fear suddenly, and she was just a little girl, and suddenly thinking that she could possibly have anything to do with this sort of terror attack was crazy to me. But other people who didn't know her obviously made some assumptions, and eventually it got so bad that she ended up having to like move away from our area. And so this part for me, this was the part where Emma Hamm got me, because, all of a sudden these people that had been nice to her, like, flip on a dime, and she goes from being a neighbor to being an enemy. And that is something that I have witnessed like actually happen in my life, that has happened in society. And it felt absolutely so real that this terrible thing, they're like, oh, it's a human. And what they do is they turn their anger on the nearest human, even though there's no real way that she could, she didn't cause the avalanche that killed your family, but she's the closest person and you want to take your anger out on someone. And so that moment where she's in the market and she just suddenly turns like, oh, that was just such a lived experience for me. And, I just feel like Emma Hamm does a really good job at doing these social commentaries. And this one just felt just so like, I remember that. And it was fucking awful. So good on Emma Hamm for that one. That was just rough. That was rough.
Yeah. It's definitely a very grounded in realism, kind of part of the book. So at this point, humans are kind of crawling all over the mountain where the trolls live, which is really scary. The trolls are sending out scouting parties. They're trying to figure out if any of the other entrances are compromised. Maybe they should close them themselves just for the safety of everybody in Trollveggen. And there are several bad run-ins between trolls and humans during this whole process. And again, really the strength of me Maia, even though, these terrible things are happening, the trolls are kind of turning on her, she still offers herself up to help in whatever way she can. Yeah. And she ends up offering to go with Ragnar and a group of trolls to try to talk to the local human village and see if they can make peace, right? Or explain that they aren't trying to hurt these humans, that they'd like to kind of end this conflict. And Mia's like, I might not be much, but at least I'm human, right? I can try to talk to them on their level, and maybe they won't kill me the minute they see me like they will for you guys. And she really, really puts herself in danger to the point where she almost dies, right? She tries to make peace, and they pretty much immediately attack her, and then the trolls have to come in and save her. She ends up shanking a guy in the leg. Like, she has to defend herself literally and physically in a very violent and frightening way. And the good that comes out of that is that, the trolls who are with her, at least at that time, very clearly see that she is not a spy. Yeah. Right. And so because those trolls that witnessed this are then willing to go and spread that message to the king and to the rest of Trollvegen, everybody kind of chills back out about Maia and her situation. And she's able to go back to, being a respected troll wife instead of being thought about with this suspicion and as this enemy. And my favorite part, after you have a near-death experience, you gotta fuck to feel alive, baby.
Exactly.
Oh no, I've almost died. Oh gosh, what do I have to do next? We gotta fuck. Yeah.
Remind me that I'm still here. My favorite line, possibly of the whole book, at least in the spicy scenes, comes from Ragnar, where he says, and I quote, "Sit on my face, Firehair. Fucking crush me if that's what it takes."
Love it. You nailed that.
Yeah.
You nailed that.
Your whole ass apple bottom on my face.
Suffocate.
Like, get on here with those baguettes, baby.
Oh man, man, nothing is sexier than basically a man saying, "Kill me with your pussy."
I love that.
If this is how I go, I will have died as I lived.
I love it.
Yeah.
Full. Oh my God. It was so good. And so here we finally find out about all of Ragnar's piercings. Do you want to talk about them, Kendra?
So when I read it, I've told the story to so many people because it's so crazy. When I read that, honestly, I've had very little experience with genital piercings. I don't know what that's supposed to look like. I read it and it was described as bars. It's 8 bars, and the way she's
one for every inch. I assume.
Oh gosh.
And I was
like a ruler. It's like a ruler on your dick.
Yeah, it's you can measure. And I mean, it was really sexy in the book. It was fun, but I couldn't really. The way I envisioned it was just okay. I'm actually part of Emma Hamm's Patreon, and she uploads NSFW photo art of the monsters.
Oh, the art, yeah.
And she's actually uploaded a few of Ragnar,
which means not safe for
which
means not safe for work. For anyone who doesn't know what that acronym means, which means porn. Yes. She uploads porn.
Good for her.
Yeah.
Sorry. Keep going,
anyway, so I looked at it and it was not at all what I thought. I was shocked. It was because mostly I thought it was oh, you just look down and there would just be bars. No, it was on the underside. That's what
we had questions about
that. Basically in the photo, the art of him, he's sort of sitting and he has his legs out. And all you see, it's if you're looking at him like this, you just see bars. I was oh, okay, that's not what I thought that was. And it was really not. I mean, it was nice, but I was in shock. Yeah, I was oh. And then I went on TikTok Live and I was talking about it, and a lot of my followers were you don't know what a Jacob's ladder is? You're so pathetic. You're so. And I'm I didn't know what that was.
She's a sweet Southern girl, y'all. She doesn't know about these things.
And I've never even read that in a book. That was a first for me. I was now I know what a Jacob's ladder is. So
You educated me and Emmy because Emmy and I also assumed it was along the top
bottom.
because there is like in the scene that makes way more sense.
It does.
Just
anatomically.
Yeah.
We had questions about. I was like, how does it when it shrinks? Is it where they go?
Right.
And then I was like, are trolls just hard forever?
Just
is this part of
constantly
it?
hard.
All the time.
Right. No, but the underneath makes slightly more sense given what we know about actual piercings. But yeah, no, we were sort of like trying to envision. We're like, where do we think these are going?
Where are they? Yeah. And I honestly, I Googled, my search history is a mess right now. It's just full of dick piercings and whale penises from the Whispers in the Deep book.
Yeah.
And that's my
our combined Google searches they're like, these girls are fucking weird.
This is sort of a little tiny bit off topic, but when it comes to Emma Ham with the double dick
Oh, yes. We had that same issue too.
I was telling my husband about it. He's like, so they're like this?
Or like the
they're side to side.
I'm like,
side to side.
Like not like this.
Oh, see, I went with on top on bottom for the Double Mermaid.
Like because I've seen that art too. I've seen that art too.
You know what?
And I'm like, that would be really
on
really...
sharks. They are
like that on sharks.
On sharks, they are like this. On sharks
and
they
lizards,
are, and also
they're sideways.
Sharks and lizards, they are side to side. But I do agree, top to bottom is sexier.
If I had to choose between side to side or top to bottom,
oh no,
I think I'm taking top to bottom.
Somewhere that totally. Same. I don't know why. But when I read it the first time in the Merman, I immediately just somehow knew it was like this. I don't know how. But then whenever I saw it on Patreon, I was like, that's exactly how I envisioned it. Like that I had right. But Ragnar took me for a loop. I was like, oh, okay, that was not what I thought, but it's fun. Yeah.
Well, this is an educational podcast, as we've always said.
This is an anatomical podcast.
Make funny noises. We're here to make funny noises and talk about dick piercings.
Yeah. We so far haven't made any funny noises. We still have some time left.
Okay. Yeah.
It's not over yet. So, getting towards the wrap up here. Maia and Ragnar and the Troll King, with generals and a bunch of other folks, come up with a dangerous plan to try to sue the Human King for peace because, trolls are at a disadvantage in this conflict in a lot of ways. And really Maia puts herself forward again, willing to risk herself again and says, look, why don't I go back to the capital? You can send an envoy with me and I'll try to beg the king to call these attacks off and try to broker a real peace. And I can show everyone that being a troll wife is awesome, right? That this is a good thing, that I'm not a captive. I'm not being tortured. I'm not being mistreated, that this is a wonderful life that I'm having here, that I'm starting to build here. And honestly, maybe we can get more humans to be willing to come and be troll wives voluntarily. And that's only a good thing for trolls because they've realized now that even though Maia barely had, a tiny drop of elven blood, even that small amount, because it was given willingly and lovingly to Ragnar, has really boosted his powers and frankly hers as well. And so this is the plan. And shocking no one, that plan goes over like a lead balloon. Right. Maia and Ragnar and their envoy are pretty much immediately waylaid and captured by the king. And we find out that humans have not just been killing the captive trolls that they've been taking. They have actually been taking prisoners and kind of making them fight in a gladiator Hunger Games style arena situation that's either under the castle or somewhere very nearby in the kingdom. And as Smut and public listeners, we try not to spoil every single part of the ending. So we are going to wrap it up there. And Emmy, I know you had a little bit of an opinion on kind of the way that this book ended. Do you want to share that before we finish the wrap up?
It does. It's like 75%, maybe like 80%. All of what we've talked about so far, magical thing. She goes with him. There's a whole, enemies to lover situation. And then the last like 20% of the book is somehow you're transported into the gladiator romance trope, which I don't know if anyone else here has read. I have read a bunch of. And I was just like, oh, wait a second. why is there a gladiator trope at the end? And it mostly is there to set up like the second book, because the character that they meet there, obviously is like it's like, oh, Ragnar's childhood friend who's been, here for a while. And they do sort of just do a thing of like, and we're gonna come back to this. So, and then they move on, they leave, and then they go back to their troll area. So it's sort of like there's a slightly different trope here for a little while at the end, which, I don't hate. I actually am really interested now for reading the second book, if that's what they're going to do for it as a gladiator book. But it did feel just the tiniest bit like shoot in. I feel like it felt like a kind of a weird way to end their story, because then as soon as they get back, they're like, and I love you, and we're done. But overall, I really liked this book. This was a 5 for me. She gets a 5 because she made me cry.
Does that mean you cried?
I cried twice.
I knew it.
I cried twice during this book, okay? Right at the beginning when Ragnar was talking about how disappointed he was, about how his life had suddenly changed, he had expectations and now this is what he was doing. Oh, that got me. And then of course, afterwards how Maia was doing, tears. So Emma Hamm, she earned the Cry Award with 5 stars again. This is still not necessarily my favorite Emma Hamm book. I think I'm still a Whispers fan, but this one, it was really good, and I instantly pre-ordered. I pre-ordered number 2. That's coming out in November.
I want to back you up on everything you just said, because I so agree, but I want to add something about this whole gladiator ending and the Hunger Games stuff. I think that part, actually the ending, was my least favorite part of the whole book, and the reason why is because it kind of gave me a trauma response from reading ACOTAR, because literally almost the same identical thing with the arena happens. And that tends to happen a lot in books, for whatever, especially romantasy, that whatever reason they like that.
And now you have to fight your way out.
And I'm just like, really? Like, I knew it was for the setup of the second. I got that pretty quickly. I'm like, oh, she's setting something up for book 2, which Emma does in all of the Whispers books too. So like, it's fine. I didn't hate it. It was still better than the ACOTAR, but I was like,
it would be hard.
Anybody listening, I'm an ACOTAR hater, so I'm sorry for any of the haters or lovers out there. I'm not. You're in enemy territory when it comes to me. I'm not a fan. But the thing is, though, is the arena thing just, I don't know. I couldn't get into it much either, I'm going to be honest. But I'm still going to read the second book. I hope it, picks up there but quickly goes out. That's what I'm hoping happens.
Yeah.
Because I could have just done without that and had more, Pierce dick action. More time that's what I wanted. Not the gladiator arena thing. I just could have done without it, personally. But I do get she wants to write a second book, so... I agree with you though. Totally.
Yeah. And I will say, for me, I don't think it hit me as out of place, as strongly as it did for you ladies. And I might even say I liked this book better than the first book of Whispers of the Deep. I think I liked this one better. Now, time will tell, right? Because Songs of the Abyss, which is, Whispers Book 2, is incredible, absolutely delightful. They get better and better in Whispers. And for me, this feels like a continuation of her refining her technique so well. So specifically the things that I wanted to say as wrap up were, I love that Emma writes these epic settings that have this really intense conflict between, a human culture and a monster culture. And for me, her world building got so much better from Whispers of the Deep to A Darkness So Sweet. The troll culture feels way more interesting. The human culture honestly feels way more interesting. And so I think that Emma Hamm is getting better and better as an author. So for me, I think this just edges out Whispers of the Deep, but only just. And I also am obsessed with the way that she writes the community of women, energy. I want that to become a trope. Let's make that a trope in these books. I loved that over and over when Maia was at her lowest and really struggling, it is these women, these troll women that kind of put their arms around her and make her feel welcome and make her feel safe and make her feel seen. And I'm just all about girls or troll girls for troll girls, however you want to say it. And then finally, speaking of ACOTAR, right, Kendra, there are so many romanticides where a heroine becomes this like super powered, ultra ultimate savior. You know, I'm, you know, secretly the inheritor of a god, or I'm secretly the sword reincarnated, or like whatever.
I'm secretly a Skywalker.
Right, exactly. My daddy is Emperor Palpatine, right? Like whatever all of these stories have to make it that woman was always special.
Yep.
She just didn't know it. But in this story, Maia starts it as a florist, and baby, she ends it as a florist, right? She grows and does get stronger, but she's not a world-ending magician. She's not going to go blow up the human kingdom. She's going to win them over with feminine strength, right? It feels like it's really honoring feminine styles of strength and not trying to make her this special uber character who was always going to be a superhero all along. She just had to this was just her origin story. It's not like that.
Something I hated about ACOTAR, which I talked about in my YouTube video about it, was exactly what you just said. Was just how like this whole like, oh, I'm so special and stuff, and like they try to make it like this feminist take, but it's not, because most of the time their powers they get, which literally in ACOTAR that's exactly what it is from men. Like the reason why she has the power is because men give it to her. That's literally what it is.
Gave it to her.
And in this, like any power she gets herself. I mean, he might have been adjacent to her, helping her kind of be confident in herself and stuff. But I mean, it wasn't dependent on him. She technically always had it. No. If anything, he just strengthened it. I love that. I love
like
that.
them together, them working together, them consenting to be in a relationship is what brought that magic to the forefront. And that's what made it stronger, is the two of them being in a relationship together. Yeah. And that to me really strikes as like, you know what? You know, it works really well in life when you as a couple, you just freaking work, right? Yeah. You work together. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You roll your sleeves up and you get dirty together, and you do the hard stuff together. And I really love that. So for me, I gave it a 4.75. The only reason I dinged it is I want it to be higher.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Megan wanted more piercings too.
Yeah.
I wanted to know what else was pierced,
he
nipples.
Did say,
maybe?
He did say like, I'm going to get another one. He told her at one point, you've earned another piercing. And he's like, I'm going to get another one on my tongue. And it's like, dang, son.
Yeah. I say this about almost all the Emma Ham books. I could, even though I know she's like a plot-driven, writer, I'm like, oh, she could triple the amount of smut in it to me, and I would still probably like it even more than. I mean, I'm just gonna be honest.
Yes,
but that's just not her style, which is fine.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. She doesn't have to be a smutty bitch like the rest of us.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, Kendra, please remind the people where they can find your content and how they can follow you.
If you want to watch me rant about ACOTAR, you can go to my YouTube channel. It's Mrs. Long Reads, just like my TikTok. My TikTok just has 2 S's at the end. So annoying. But that's where I'm at the most. So feel free to go and watch me. And that's where you can find me.
Cool. Love it. And genuinely, from both Emmy and myself, thank you so much for coming on this episode. This was so much fun.
Oh my gosh.
I loved it. No, I'm still petitioning. I'm like, I want y'all to do an episode on book 2 of the Deepwater series.
Oh,
I will come.
If we do, you're in.
That's my favorite book ever. So, yeah. I still love this one, though. I really did. I love the merman. I'm kind of biased to underwater things, though. I just think that's the coolest setting ever. It's like hard to beat, but I still did I like Emma Ham, everything she does. I love it. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, folks, you have been listening to Smut in Public, and all 3 of us. Smut in Public. Kendra, do you want to do our little sign off?
Yeah, we're gonna go read some smut and report back. And we'll report back.
Hey.
And we'll report back.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye.